What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Daniel here from the GeekSpeakNation channel, and I'm here to bring you my review of the Hateful Eight. So, The Hateful Eight is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino and stars Samuel L. Jackson, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Kurt Russell, Walter Goggins, and a plethora of other actors who are involved with this film, and is about 8 strangers in total who get trapped inside of this cabin during a blizzard, and it's post-Civil War, and there's a bunch of tension going on about who may not be helping this convict played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, possibly trying to escape from her inevitable execution in the upcoming town by the name of Red Rock. So once this film was over, I had an initial feeling. The feeling was mostly disgust, rage, confusion. Overall, I'd have to say, after having time to digest my thoughts on what I experienced during the Hateful Eight, and it is long enough to be considered an experience, I'd have to say that I enjoyed myself, and there's a lot more that I liked than I didn't like getting out of the film. So going right into it, the main star that we need to talk about in this film is Quentin Tarantino, the writer and director himself. Here, he makes some excellent choices with his directing that proves why he is a staple in the industry of film. Specifically, when you look at his writing, his dialogue, if you are a fan, as I am, of Quentin Tarantino's writing, it is superb in this film and some of his best in a while. It almost feels overindulgent in a sense. It takes about 30 minutes for the real setup to begin. You only meet a few characters in the beginning, and it takes 30 minutes of this 3-hour film for them to finally introduce, okay, we're about to set up what the actual events are. And it's certain things of like, oh, well, let's talk for 9.5 minutes outside of a stagecoach, and then talk for 13 minutes inside of the stagecoach, and talk for 5 outside of it. And it just piles up and piles up. And although the dialogue is great, it does get long in the tooth, and it does feel indulgent, as if like Quentin Tarantino has this issue of he loves these scenes so much in the dialogue that he's writing that he just can't let them go. And he just wants it to go on and on forever. And to me, it kind of drags on a little bit in the writing, but man, is it superb. And the character development and just little hints of the story that you get from the dialogue itself is masterful. And another great choice that Quentin Tarantino makes in this film is keeping it in such confined locations, but finding a way to make it look grand and epic. And the way that's done is through the cinematographer Robert Richardson, that's his name, Robert Richardson, who decides to go with the, I believe it's the 75 Panavision camera lens. It's this massive widescreen ratioed camera lens that captures so much in a single shot. So when you're outside and you look at the outside areas, you see so much of the vast wilderness. Like there's one shot where you have Samuel L. Jackson's character in the snow. He's at a tiny little rock doing something, and in the background you can see the vast mountains, and you can see just so much of the location, and it is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous film, even when the violence kicks into play, and it does. The beauty of this film is never lost, and that's something that's really interesting. And also, when you look at the direction and the choice to use this camera lens, you get a lot of tension that can be built up within a scene because you can see everything inside of the cabin. And when you get to this mystery whodunit part of the film, you get this sense of urgency and paranoia because the camera lens is so tight and claustrophobic. It captures so much that you can see every single character who's in that shot. So you're like, oh, well, this person's over there. I don't trust him. He's a little shady, but he couldn't have done that since he was over here. Maybe she did this and that. And it's really fun and to look at the scenes through that perspective, but it kind of loses that mystery and that edge literally almost halfway through the script. They're just like, screw it, let the violence ensue. And it's just like, oh, well, I was enjoying that. I was enjoying the nitpicking, the paranoia and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily any more graphic than any of his films has ever been, but the location and the world is so kind of grounded, and you get so used to the beauty of it that when the violence comes out, it's not as shocking as it is disturbing or unsettling, and feels very out of place. unlike in other films like Kill Bill or something like that, where the violence is all over the place and the tone establishes for this violence to be there. But it feels very out of place. And there's especially one scene in which Samuel L. Jackson's telling a story and things are shown, and I'm not going to spoil it, but for those of you who have seen the film know what I'm talking about. But certain things like that just feel extremely out of place, and that actually felt like the point in the film where things started to just derail and didn't quite know where, not necessarily it didn't know where it wanted to go, but it knew where it wanted to go and just decided to take a crash course into that darker, explosive territory that Quentin Tarantino is known for. But what helps deliver these moments and still keeps me enthralled even when I feel disgusted and I feel like I just want to leave, I don't want to see this, is the performances. And everyone just gives a knockout performance. Specifically, I gotta give my hat off to Samuel L. Jackson, who just kills it in this role as Major Warren. He is fantastic. He gives some great monologues, and as I said before, there's a specific monologue that is literally a showstopper. Before there's literally intermission to film the shows. Anyways, it's crazy, and he does phenomenal. Kurt Russell does great. Walter Goggins, who I was just like, he was just kind of throwaway actor or character in Django Unchained, did phenomenal in this film, and I really, really enjoyed his character in this film. And it's very interesting how everyone was able to commit to all their roles and all their different intricacies that Quentin Tarantino gave them, and doesn't necessarily make you care for them. You actually kind of meant to hate them a little bit, or actually at all, they're all despicable people, but at the same time you're interested in seeing where the story goes. It's all surface when it comes to the characters, and there's no real emotional development or hooks that you can really get into and carry along. What Quentin Tarantino tries to hook you in with to keep you going along as well, that'll get you emotionally developed or emotionally hooked in to the story, is through the political messages that he is it's not really hiding, but is inside of the story. This story takes place in post-Civil War, so there's a lot of racial politics that Quentin Tarantino is not afraid to talk about, and he brings it to the forefront here. And there are certain lines and certain speeches in this film that really spoke to me, and I thought were very interesting commentaries on society and racial politics today. And I think it was really interesting and thought. So in the end, The Hateful Eight is an interesting and very entertaining film in a lot of ways. I think definitely the writing and the directing are just hitting on all cylinders, as well as the performances by the actors and the actresses in this film. It's great and it's engaging in that sense, but it loses its impact because of the twist and turn it takes with the violence, as what that just feels out of place, as well as the runtime that goes on for way too long because it just gets too focused in its own dialogue and is too self-indulgent overall for Quentin Tarantino's mind to just run amok. And he just needs someone to rein him in so he can release a more compact and more focused product. It's not my favorite Quentin Tarantino film, but it sure is a darn good one. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving The Hateful Eight, ironically, an 8 out of 10. So, what did you think of The Hateful Eight? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment sections down below. And also, I want to know what you think about Quentin Tarantino's work. I know a lot of people were saying on this film that they found it to be racist and misogynist, and they've been saying that a lot about Quentin Tarantino's work when it comes to the race aspects of the film. I personally don't feel that watching this film or any of his films, that it is meaning to be not necessarily insensitive, but it's very direct, and I don't mind it. But let me know what you think about Quentin Tarantino films in the comment sections down below. And also, while you're there, if you liked my review, hit that like button and subscribe to become a part of the Geek Nation, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are on our way to 300 subscribers, and we are almost there. So as always, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for all your support. And as always, I've been Daniel, and don't forget to get geeky.